So this is something that I really wanted to emphasize because you want to get to the root of the problem. And you touched on it a little bit, but I want to touch again on the causes of hypothyroidism, because we need to look at the root of the problem to get rid of the symptoms, to then get rid of the mental issues or what else is following. So
Right.
the causes of hypothyroidism.
Causes, well, your main cause is going to be that autoimmune component. And then over here in this like 5 to 10% category, that's where we can see maybe the cause. And I'll dive into more autoimmune here in a second. But in this 5 to 10% category is where we see the hypothyroidism being caused by over exercising, starvation, eating disorders, under eating, chemotherapy, radiation, certain beta blocker drugs. So there are certain medications, and even birth control is known to tank the thyroid. Lithium, that's a standard treatment for bipolar disease, it completely destroys the thyroid. Eating too much soy soy is a goitrogen, so that will downregulate the thyroid gland production of thyroid hormones as well. So when we're looking at those other causes, we'll say they fall into a very small category, but we still do see them. We still see them. Over here in the Hashimoto category with autoimmune, we know that the root cause of autoimmune, underlying infections, like Epstein-Barr virus is huge. Almost every single patient that I test EBV, it's there, including myself. I tested EBV on myself. I went, oh, look, there it is. I don't ever remember having mono. It must have just been a really bad cold that my mom kept me home from school when I was little, right? And I just never got tested for mono. But I had it because I had those EBV markers. Now it's dormant, it's not active, but EBV is a huge underlying factor for Hashimoto's disease. Mold toxicity, heavy metals, even things like pregnancy, perimenopause, shifting of hormones in menopause. That's enough to turn that autoimmune switch into the on position. So with any autoimmunity, we have that switch in its off position because we have that genetic predisposition. Maybe you look back in history. I see this with my patients all the time. I look at their family history. Mom, sister, aunt, grandma all had hypothyroidism. Now, they might not know that it was Hashimoto's because many times doctors don't test for the antibodies, but it's there. That family history is there. So then we get to the patient with that family history and we go, okay, you have the genetic predisposition for autoimmune. And this even goes for if mom, grandma, and aunt had other autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or MS or type 1 diabetes. All of those are autoimmune conditions that sets a person up to have that genetic predisposition. So you have that. And then the question is, what is that trigger that's going to flip the switch? And that can be as simple as something natural that women experience, like pregnancy. It's enough to just turn that switch to the on position. And then Hashimoto's presents itself. We kind of go through the stages of Hashimoto's where a lot of people won't even know that they have it. They might have it for decades before they're even properly tested, properly treated, listened to, diagnosed. But it's there. It got turned on. And really, I mean, digging into, I have a lot of patients, I'm sure you do too, that they want to find that root cause. And that's great. Like if we find active Epstein-Barr virus, oh my gosh, let's work on that to put it into its dormant state. If you are loaded with heavy metals, let's do a detox to get rid of it. But at the same time, let's address those low thyroid hormones. Let's give you something, be it a supplement, support, your iodine, which I am absolutely in love with. And then, we both have thyroid stuff. All of that is going to help to support the thyroid. And we might have to bring in some thyroid hormone replacement therapy while we're working on the root cause at the same time.
Right. So you are helping someone actually feel good day one. And then, okay, let's work on the other part too, whether it's the gut, the autoimmune. My daughter, and a lot of girls in high school do have Epstein-Barr because of the stress and the overworking out and all of that. And my girls are rowers. Well, coach thinks that 3 hours a day is totally fine. That's great. But I've told her, and she had a period of active Epstein Barr. And what happens too, correct me if I'm wrong, that stress on the body is going to turn that T4 into reverse T3, because the body's like, hey, I need to protect myself. I need to slow down the metabolism, and I need energy. I need to put my energy towards fighting this virus over here. And whether it's Epstein-Barr or the flu virus, or I actually have, what's interesting is the Coxsackie virus. Whenever I'm stressed out or I've been exposed to a certain virus around, I don't end up getting that virus, but I end up getting an expression of the Coxsackie virus. And what happens with me, I can feel my thyroid slow down because my body's saying, hey, we're going to work on this virus over here. We need to save our energy, and we're into survival mode. And then also, through cycling, monthly cycling, I can feel my thyroid go up and down. And then what are other signs? I'm a little more constipated. I can't digest my food quite as well. And it's like, shoot, what's going on? So there's this a little bit of a fluctuation monthly with my thyroid, and I'm very in tune with it. So, and then the stress level, that stress level, acute stress may get you amped up and burn, right? Your metabolism might burn for those few days, but then after that, if that stress stays too long, then it's like, hey, I can't keep up. I'm gonna flip up that reverse T3 and slow down the metabolism. And this is where then that stress then also creates issues with your microbiome and your gut. And then your mental health suffers, and all of these things are like a domino effect. And so January is a great time to kind of sit back, reevaluate body, mind, and spirit, where you're at, and then also look at that thyroid, because that's the master endocrine gland and has an impact on your immune system, your mental health, your spiritual health. So those are just a few things that I wanted to bring up.